Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse Round 2, Game 2 playoff preview with my man, the Latin assassin, Lee Escobedo. What's up, brother?
Oh, man. Ready for game 2, man? I've been arguing with so many bums in my group chat today. I'm exhausted already. Because I've been like rolling with it, man. The Heat fans are out in full force right now after that first win.
You're so funny, man. You love getting into it like that
I do.
on Twitter and stuff. Yeah, I have a different philosophy to it, but I love reading the clashes and stuff. All right, man. Well, yeah, we're starting here. Starting early, a little bit early. The game, well, we're trying to start even earlier, but this is a big game. We got some big news too, as well. We just heard that Jimmy Butler is out. Jimmy Butler is out. So, what does that mean? What does that mean for the Knicks? Let's go to I'm going to put this up here really fast, and let's get this guy on here. Here we go. So, Lee, this whole time I'm like, so here someone posted this photo in the bottom right here of Jimmy taking a stroll through Manhattan by himself. Looks so staged. To me. I mean, who took the photo? Why is he walking by himself? No special brace on his ankle, nothing. Then there was that tweet saying, it was Jared Greenberg or whatever. I saw Jimmy was doing a shoot around and he looked pretty good or something. And then we get the news: Jimmy Butler is out, the Heat say. So, before we get into this discussion, shout out to the chat. Shout out to everyone who's watching this. Thank you for joining us. Again, please subscribe. Subscribe to Lee Escobedo on Twitter and check out all of his awesome articles that he writes for Sports Not. And
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. Love all the side. I appreciate you sharing them with me and stuff. I see we got Juan Carlos BH in the house. What's up, brother? We got Lex the Destroyer, best mod around. Thank you so much for joining, Lex. Let's see who else we got. Knicks won today. I like that one. Geraldine MacGyver, what's up? Salute to you. We got 19 Con Man, Ribby at RM. And we got John Talento in the house. What's up, man? Yes, we better freaking win this. Especially without Jimmy Butler in the game. And here's the thing, and I think my take on this, I mean, the idea that someone could roll their ankle the way they did on a Sunday and just 48 hours later be out on the court in a playoff game just seemed highly unlikely to me. But, there's this whole mystique about Jimmy Butler. Oh, he's a freak. He's a dog. He's a baller. He's going to be out there. Just stitch them together, Well, that being, I mean, I believe all that. If he could have gone, do you think there's a chance that the Heat just decided to hold him out just in case?
Yes. I don't think there's any chance that Jimmy Butler was able to play and he decided not to. I think he's of the same mentality, cut from the same cloth as Jalen Brunson. I think only the powers that be, meaning the ownership, medical staff, front office, those that report to Mickey Arison in Miami, could say, don't play. We don't want you to because this, that, and the other could affect.
There was a report, you're saying?
No, I'm just as my hypothetical.
Oh, okay.
I think only a higher power could hold him back, because if it was down to Jimmy making the decision to play, he absolutely would. And I think Jalen Brunson is.
Well, Riles and Spo could convince him to rest today.
I don't know. I think Jimmy is just one of the top 5 guys in the NBA that just has an ultimate dog mentality. He's got a superstar dog. He has all of his intangibles. The guys that Josh Hart does, he just has a way higher ceiling in terms of his athletic ability and on-ball ability. And I really don't think there's anything to stop him from playing, because the path toward a championship is maybe the easiest it's been in a really long time.
That's true. That is true. It is easier than it's been in a long time, because the super teams did turn out to be so super. The Bucks are out. And of course, an injury is why. I mean, let's just all be honest and fair.
Yeah.
The way that team was constructed, you needed a healthy Giannis, and the Heat pulled off some incredible comebacks to take the series. So, which is shout out to them. That's fantastic. But still, we know that if Giannis is healthy, they They probably don't win that series. Most likely they don't win that series. But it does harken me back to thinking about this game 2 idea. So Giannis gets hurt in game 1 in that first round series and sits out game 2 and the Bucks win. It's the only game that the Bucks win. I think, and then Miami was able to take care of business whether Giannis came back or not afterwards. Now I know it's different because it's their own guy, but they have more time in between games here. So now, technically, Jimmy will have had almost a week off in between games if he's able to play on Saturday. I think if game 3 was a Friday game, and you're right, I think if Jimmy's able to go, he probably plays tonight.
Yeah.
They're like thinking about it like, you know what, you get that extra day. We're going back 1-1. You know, we just have to hold our home court, and we need the healthiest Jimmy possible for that. So they're looking at winning game 3 and 4. That's what it feels like to me, and I think it's a good strategy, especially with even if Randall is able to play today and Brunson. They're both compromised. They saw what Randall did in the first series against the Cavs. He was effective to a degree, but he definitely was compromised. And Brunson, we'll see what happens with him. I didn't even notice his injury at all. They say it happened in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Is that what they said? I read somewhere. Yeah.
Everything you just said, intellectually, I understand and can agree with it intellectually. But there's something about that Miami organization. They don't feel like an organization that is willing to tank a game in order to set up a better situation in game 3.
I don't think it's a tanking. I agree with you. I think he was just like, hey, I'm like 80%. And they're like, you know what? We can lose with you out on the court 80%. You could make your ankle worse.
I just have a hard time buying that with him specifically. Kawhi, PG, AD, Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, yes. Jimmy Butler, no.
Well, luckily for us, he is sitting. Because kind of make it a little even, considering we are shorthanded ourselves, but so are they. They're missing, I believe, their second highest scorer. Isn't Hero number
Hero's
2 or 3?
Third highest, and Victor is their 5th.
Yeah. So they're down 2 key players, and technically, I mean, we're down 2 key players as well because Grimes barely had any impact in that series. So that first game was disadvantage us. And we're going to break down what happened in that game, how can the Knicks respond, and how can they take this game 2. And I'm so hyped for this, man.
Me too.
I'm so hyped for this game. This is what we have been waiting for a long time. But I'm going to say this, though, don't take this as an apology for whatever might happen or doesn't happen. It's just how I'm looking at the reality of the situation. In my opinion, we are playing with house money.
Yeah.
We already got the monkey off our back by beating the Cavs. In that monkey, it was multiple monkeys off our back because we get to expunge or exercise the pain and agony of the first round loss 2 years ago to the Hawks. And on top of that, we get to put away all this the Donovan Mitchell coming to New York BS. I would say it mentally that was a tougher series for our players to deal with, considering half of our young roster was in trade rumors for that guy that they were going to face in the playoffs. And you have Stephen A. Smith saying what he's been saying. Oh, if the Knicks lost to the Cavs, it would be terrible. Blah, blah. So I think there was more intensity in that matchup from like a personal standpoint for the players, these players. A Miami Heat clash is bigger in terms of the city and the fans and the people, but these players themselves, they weren't a part of that. They can feel it, the heritage and everything, but they really weren't a part of that. So anything that happens here, especially since we didn't mortgage our future to get here, we played it all correct. So this is the time to just enjoy this, but it doesn't mean you just fold up the tents, and go home. No, this is it. Like you said, this might be the softest time for anyone to get to a finals in the East that I've seen in quite a while. There's no LeBron in Cleveland or Miami. The Celtics look like they've lost some interest in putting teams away when they should. And that tells me they're missing the killer instinct. So you're right. This is the time. So this is it, man. I think our young guys are thirsty. And I believe they're going to come out tonight. I mean, I just put my prediction right now. I wouldn't even be surprised. Even if Jimmy had played and was healthy, if this would have been like a 15 to 20 point blowout by the Knicks.
I agree 100% that we were playing with house money. The number one goal was to get the first round for sure, so you can rewrite some of that history of Thibodeau in that Atlanta series. We also need Joyce Randle to have a good series. That has not happened yet, mostly due to injury. But now that we have house money, in my opinion, we are.
Let's run it up.
We are way better than Miami in every positional matchup, but shooting guard and head coach. I think Eric Spoelstra is absolutely the best coach in the Eastern Conference, maybe the best coach in the NBA. It's real close. You still have Greg Popovich. He doesn't have the roster that his talent, the coaching talents deserve, but he's an unbelievable coach, and so is Spo. We should beat this Miami Heat team. If both teams are fully healthy, I think we still smack them if they have Hero or Victor Oladipo. And I don't think we should have the mentality that, okay, if we lose, I don't think it's a failure in the postseason if we lose to Miami, but I also don't think that there should be any level of settling. We should be smacking this Miami Heat team and been going up against a very mentally weak Boston Celtics team because Joe Mazzulla is a first-year coach, and they've lost a dog in that locker room in Udoka. And Philly is injured with the severe knee strain that Joel Embiid has. There's a legit, for the first time in 23 years, a legit shot for us to go to the finals, even a better shot than we had 9-9, which was a lot of luck. This is our talent-wise. We were a better team than almost every team in the East. And if we match up against Denver, we can beat Denver. If we match up against LA, we can beat LA. We have a puncher's chance against Golden State and a puncher's chance against Phoenix. We need to take full advantage of this opportunity, and we absolutely, positively must win tonight, and we must beat the Miami Heat overall.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's not about taking it easy or not being committed to doing everything you can to win this series. It's just putting it into perspective, because definitely I feel like there is this sense out there that, oh, if we don't beat the Heat, it's a failure.
No.
Yeah, that's all. That's mostly what I was trying to reach out to just, enjoy this moment, and because in the 90s it was a lot of agony. When you're staring at Michael Jordan, right. Elijah, you had some greats out there, and it was like, oh man, well, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, but the best were some of the best of all time at that time. So it was really tough, but so we're in a much better situation right now. And the other thing is, like you were saying, also, I've been a Miami Dolphin fan for a long time, because I lived there as a kid for a couple of years when they had the great teams, the perfect season and everything, and then stayed a fan. Dan Marino takes them to the Super Bowl in his second season, and you think, wow, this guy's one of the greatest of all time. Dolphins are going to be back multitudes of times. He never got back to a Super Bowl. So when you have the chance, you're right. This is the time to seize upon it. So well, before we get to that, I saw there was a super chat here from Jay. Thank you so much, brother. We may never have this path. I don't buy it. Win. Let's do it. Let's do it. Absolutely. It's
a fine line, my brother. It's a very fine line between, I agree with really everything you said. We are playing with house money. If we lose to Miami, it's still this is the best season we've had since 2013, maybe even better than then, because the future is brighter than it was then. Mm-hmm. But we should, under all circumstances, beat this Miami Heat team that is so one-dimensional and so dependent on Jimmy Butler to have a superstar outing to win a game and a series. I really felt with a deeper, more talented, more unified team in this matchup.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. And I see there is some video Ian Begley posted of Jalen Brunson doing some warm-ups. See if I can find this and put it up.
I don't know if I want to see that because I saw Randall going between his legs, crossing up an assistant coach, and then he's set for the whole game. I was like, what the hell?
Let's see if he can pull this out. So what do you before we get to that, let's get to these other slides I got here. So right here, this is I found these were interesting. Some interesting takes here. But for one, this was tweeted out from a JJ Redick interview. We were just talking on Old Man in the Three, and he was talking about Josh Hart had texted him right after the game saying, dude, if we just made 3 or 4 threes, we win that game. And then you hear people saying, oh, well, the Knicks are just not a good 3-point shooting team. They're going to struggle, blah, 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 blah. Thing is, that's not actually reality. That's not reality. We are struggling. We are the worst 3-point shooting team in the playoffs currently. Performing in the playoffs, though, not in the regular season, and not since the All-Star game. Since the All-Star game, we have been, I'll show you guys. Here we go. Since the All-Star game, we are 11th in 3-point shooting percentage in the NBA, 37.6%. The Heat are actually 14th, 36.8%. So the Heat aren't going to shoot as well as they did over the arc of this series, and we're not going to shoot as poorly as we did. That's just not going to happen. The question becomes, will we be able to, slow down these Miami Heat guys that have suddenly caught fire, like Gabe Vincent, Kyle Lowry, even Duncan Robinson finally woke up. Well, even though he missed some shots in this game, but Strus. How are we going to deal with that? Because if you look at the stats from here, the playoff stats, Miami is leading the entire playoffs in 3-point shooting, almost 43%, and we are the worst. Not even 27%. So that's going to even out. And your feeling is, if that evens out, what happens?
Well, it's interesting you say that they're leading the playoffs with 43% because game one, we held them at 33%. They only hit 13 threes. So I actually thought the game planning, the adjustments by Tom Thibodeau, I thought overall were very good. I thought the team played really hard, solid defense. I thought guys like Obi Toppin, I thought had a pretty good game. I thought Brunson overall played well. RJ was phenomenal through 3 quarters. Everyone was terrible in the fourth. I don't put the blame on any single player or Tibbs in the fourth quarter. We just bricked shots. I agree 100% with Josh Hart. To me, it's all about hitting threes. That was the main thing to look at instead of overcomplicating the game one loss. It really comes down to, can we make more threes than them? And I think because of our defense, which has been the best in the playoffs, and we showed we can drop that percentage by 10 percentage points from 43% to 33%. And really, Alan Hahn really hit the nail on the head. The way that they were collapsing in the post, they're basically building a wall around the rim, daring us to hit threes, daring Obi and Grimes and Hart and RJ to shoot 3-pointers. And Alan Hahn had a tweet earlier today where he said the Knicks went 2 of 15 on open 3-point shots. And then they went 4 of 16 on wide open 3-point shots, meaning shots that were like there was no one within a 4-5 foot vicinity because they were building that wall with their zone defense, basically begging us to shoot. If we can hit 34, 35%, which is below league average.
We don't even need to hit that.
Right, because no team shot worse than 36% from the 3-point line in the season. If we can just shoot below average of the NBA, we will win this game and the series.
That's why I believe we will win this series eventually. That's why I believe it, exactly for that reason, because we don't have to be the top 3-point shooting team in the playoffs to win a series, because we get so many second chance opportunities. We get additional looks at that basket.
Yes.
Now we have to continue that. The Heat did do a nice job of boxing Mitch out sometimes, so he wasn't to try to neutralize him as an offensive rebounding threat. I saw some things that were a little, they were cheating a little bit, holding onto his jersey, holding onto his arm that they got away with. A lot of fouls that the Heat should have been called for that they didn't get called for. Now here's Jalen warming up for game 2. What was MC? I saw remember.
You point out the moving strings on Twitter. That was a good nuance to make light of. That they did away with that a lot.
Oh, the screens. Yes. Oh, you saw that? Yeah. So look, Josh Hart. If Josh Hart was 0 for 4, Brunson was 0 for 7. Barrett was 1 for 5, and Quickly was 1 for 4. If 3 of those 5 guys hits one more 3-pointer, that's it. If Brunson went 1 for 7 and Hart went 1 for 4, and then Quickly hits one more, we win this game. And that's something that's well within the realm of being able to achieve.
And to take that even further, if you add that one more 3, they're still below the league average of 3-point percentage for the regular season. And it counter moves what we did against Cleveland, where we went small for small on ball screens, where Quickly was screening for Brunson. Spoelstra caught on to that. He started doubling on that and playing drop coverage to where it dared us. You have to either do some type of playmaking in that mid-range zone and kick out for a 3-pointer or pull up for a mid-range shot. And that allows us to actually keep that defense honest. And instead of falling back, they have to guard it on a 3-point line, which then opens up more lanes for the post. Absolutely. Everything's depending on the 3-point shots going in today.
I can see the Knicks just exploding today. Here's some warm-up video of Julius warming up here. So I'm going to run through a couple of the issues I had with Game 1 and what needs to happen in Game 2. Number one, I am going to this is some Thibs criticism because I thought he coached unbelievably in the Cavs series, and it's possibly Thibs didn't want to show all his hand in Game 1 right away, but that's maybe giving him a little too much credit. But I think definitely not having Deuce out on the court in that second half was a mistake. It was definitely a mistake because it finally let guys like Vincent hit a bucket, Lowry hit a bucket. Brunson was getting owned on the defensive end. Many times he was in the wrong place, and even if he was in the right place, he wasn't impacting it at all. And a lot of the ways he does impact on defense is by taking a charge. Even that, the Miami Heat knows that. There were several times when they were on transition breaks, and Brunson was the only guy back, and he tried to pick up the charge, and they slipped by him, or they fed the guy next to him before that. They know that Brunson, they were prepared. They were prepared for what Brunson could. They totally neutralized and made Brunson a tremendous liability on the defensive end, and which is fine. You can live with that when Brunson is cooking the shit out of him, but he wasn't in that game. So I think Deuce, we need Deuce out there to slow those guys out down, because that's the only way they can win is by shooting over us. They can't win by going through us in this game.
The Deuce equation's interesting. I agree with if everyone was healthy, I would say no, keep him on the bench. But with Randall out, I think it behooves Tibbs to add one more piece into that rotation to keep guys' legs fresh, if for nothing else. And Deuce is a good matchup here as Kyle Lowry, while he is a big post-up guard, he's slow as hell. I mean, he's carrying a lot of ass with him behind him. So I really think Deuce McBride can stay in the game and be effective, but his 3-point shooting is a major hole. If he's not on, he really kills you in helping to spread the floor. And really, right now, it's his biggest appeal.
True, but he doesn't go. He's cognizant of it. Like if he hits one, or if he felt good, he might try a second one, but he won't. He really doesn't go much further than that unless he spends much more time on the court. He's smart about picking his moments when to shoot a 3. He'll take that wide open one and hopefully he hits it. But at least he doesn't overdo it, which I like that. I love that about Deuce.
Then you have to be really strategic about staggering him outside of Mitchell Robinson's minutes, because you don't want 2 guys on the court that can't shoot threes and can't space the offense. You have to be very strategic. He's only in there when Isaiah Hartenstein is at the center, and even then, Hartenstein's not giving you a consistent 3 ball from the 5 spot. So it's a tough chess move there. Really, I think you only do it if you're getting killed by Gabe Vincent specifically in wide open threes. Then you play him.
This is where, yeah. But how about? But see, I kind of disagree with that, because Deuce is not in there for. See, if we're only going to score 100 points, no matter what, that means we got to keep them down. I mean, we need to put our best defenders out on the floor. It doesn't mean the whole time. I mean, even if it's like 10 minutes total, just enough. Those 10 minutes could be very valuable. Just slow them down a little bit at key times, at key moments. Because I think we were a little too Brunson centric in that game one. Many times he was forcing it, and he's turning the ball over left and right. 5 turnovers for him, which is crazy amounts, and that could also be because maybe they say his ankle was tweaked in the fourth quarter, but who knows that situation. But I guess it's a matter of either way, it's not the greatest solution because you can't depend on him for any offense at all. Whatever you get from him, offense is just bonus. It's just about
what nullifies this whole conversation is if Emmanuel Quickley shows up. If Emmanuel Quickley can just hold down the fort at the point guard position, provide that leading on-ball defense that he did in the first round in the regular season, and hit his threes at a 37 to 41% clip, we don't even need to talk about Deuce McBride. Because we have someone we can sit Brunson for, and we can maintain the offensive flow and defensive flow with IQ at the point.
100% agree. IQ's got to step up. This is the game for him right now. It looks like Brunson's going to play. We haven't gotten full confirmation yet, but irregardless, IQ's got to have a big game,
dude.
And to help that go further, again, I think the ball should be more in IQ's hands when he and Brunson are on the court together. Give Brunson 100%. A break.
Yes. Go off ball. Take a rest.
Yes. And it helps IQ. IQ feels better when he's got the ball in his hands. He tries to do a couple of things for himself. And if he can score, then he starts creating that defensive gravity towards him.
You're cooking right now. I 100% agree with you.
But this is all doable. None of this, we're not talking about anything extreme that the Knicks have to do to win this series. This is all within the realm of what they've already done.
Yes, that's what's so frustrating. And I think IQ is the only player this postseason that I'm legitimately frustrated at. Hartenstein wasn't great in game one. He wasn't nearly what he was against the Cavs. And Randall has been suffering from an ankle sprain. Brunson's been a little bit too ball dominant. RG disappeared in the fourth. Screw all that. IQ is the only one that I think there's legitimately a case where it will affect the extension that the Knicks give him this summer based on his lack of showing up in this postseason. And I'm worried about him kind of sliding back from those big stages and big opportunities because, man, what the hell, dude? There's no more excuse. You have a mismatch with Kyle Lowry. He's one of the few point guards you can actually burn with his first step. It's like he's not the fastest guard. He really gets by on his broadness and his strength and his reach in terms of his wingspan. But, man, Kyle Lowry is a bum. He should be cooking Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, and that. IQ needs to stop picking up his dribble. And he, it's funny. That was a major beef that I had with him from last season, and he had finally calmed that down. He had slowed down that, but it's back in the playoffs. He's picking up his dribble. I think it's just he doesn't want to make a mistake. He doesn't want to create a turnover, but by picking up the dribble, it just stops the whole offensive possession.
Kills it. That's a good point.
He's got to get past that. Okay. Can you please wait, what was it? The young guys will turn up tonight. I feel yes, I believe that, Legacy. Can you please cover pregame MVP announcements? Did they announce the winner? I did not get an alert yet. Have not gotten one yet. If you have inside info, David, let us know. I think they will. You're right. I think on TNT they could probably announce the MVP, but I think it's going to be Embiid.
It better be.
I imagine. We got Nick of Time in the house. What's up, brother? What's up?
My main man.
We got Keith Turner. We got Francisco Gio. And David, Amazement with 717. Billy Go. We got everybody, man. What a great turnout. We got over 140 in the chat right now. We are hyped because the Knicks are going to even the series today. I was a little more upset about the loss than I tried to let on. And I was upset because it was right there for us.
Yeah.
But then when I sat down, I rewatched the game yesterday. And what I also saw was a team that kept fighting back. They gave up the lead and they kept fighting back, even when they didn't have anything happening from the outside except for Obi. Obi was the only guy who hit some nice big three outside buckets. And then that comes to my beef number 2 with Thibs. Why? Why, Thibs? Why did you let Spo trick you into matching up? He fucked you, and he fucked us. And I say it in a kind way. And what I mean by that is the reason he took Obi out at the 9:43 mark in the fourth quarter was because he said, well, we were trying to match up with what the Heat were doing. Well, did you ever think Spo did that so that you would take the only guy who was hitting threes in the game out of the game? That was, and he never even came back in the game. And I get why, because we battled back. I think we cut the lead down to 3 in that fourth quarter. So it looked like what Thibs had been, trying to do was working. But you need that mobility, that athleticism that Obi gives you. He can leak out on the break, and he can hit the 3. All things that nobody was doing in that fourth quarter. But the other thing that I loved was how they kept battling back 2 or 3 different times in that second half. Once we gave up the lead, these Knicks kept battling back. So that tells me that this team has like a lot of heart. They're not shying away. They didn't fold at all, despite what the final score was. They didn't fold. This was a very, very, very tight game.
I don't have any qualm with that. I was waiting to hear what your critique was from Thibs, and that's not.
He got baited. He got baited into taking out his best outside shooter of the game.
If Randall had been playing, I would probably debate you. But when
that would be different.
Really, you're only your true power forward. He should be playing. He should be finishing the game at the bare minimum, because you really don't have any excuse. Going small falls into their trap, because Miami's already small. They play their best when Kevin Love is
exactly,
5, and then they're 5 out. So it's a mistake to try to match that. It was in the Knicks' favor to keep the score low and to really try to grind it out in half-court sets, not get into a running game, because Miami's been a completely different team in the postseason than they were in the regular season. They've really thrived in terms of pace and three-point shooting. So try to grind it out and get in half-court sets as much as possible, and really going small defeats that purpose.
Totally. I had another thought, and I just slipped my mind. But, all right, the next thing is here's one thing. Our bigs need to set better screens. But I actually don't want our bigs setting as many screens as we've been having them set. I want RJ to be the screen setter when Jalen has the ball or IQ has the ball. I want him to be the roller. Feed him the ball on the move, and then let him make the next decision. That, to me, makes more sense than the big, because they know what the big's going to do. You know what RJ's going to do, but try and stop him. It's much easier to stop a Mitch or an iHeart, 20 feet from the basket than it is to stop an RJ. And then that brings me to the other aspect, which is, we know Mitch doesn't do it, but why not get one look for Hartenstein for an open 3 in the corner? He hits that, then maybe you try to get him another one. He hits that, and then that's going to start forcing Miami to play a little different, because so many times when one of our players was entering the paint, there were already 3 red jerseys there. And it's because there were 2 other white jerseys kind of close to the paint. We were causing that congestion by just our floor spacing. We need to be more spread against this team, especially. What do you feel about that?
Great points. I love the idea of straining with RJ, because him getting downhill is good for the Knicks, period. It's one of their top 3 best assets is when RJ is going downhill, attacking the basket. Don't know if I agree with the Hartenstein, because I really liked when Hartenstein's in that mid-range making decisions when he catches the ball to either facilitate and find an open shooter, or give that beautiful, delicious little teardrop hook that he has. It's one of the most efficient shots that we have in our offensive arsenal, and it worked to perfection against Cleveland. And really,
but Miami did a good job of neutralizing that.
Yes, they did, but I want to really explore that more and explore it early, so that as soon as Hartenstein's minutes are in there, so he feels a little bit more integrated into the offense and not just a bystander there setting strings.
I want to show this tweet. It was great by Teg, IQ at IQ for 3. This is one we were talking about. That was great. Thanks for your notes on that. Anything in the chat that I may have missed? Because we're trying to rush through this here.
I said on the Nick of Time show yesterday that me and Emmanuel quickly had the same crush, and I want to go ahead and bring out my Ice Spice flag. I really hope Ice Spice is in the building.
Hey,
Ice Spice fans, let's go!
That's awesome. Yes, let's go.
JL is going to be LOLing right now when he sees that.
That's awesome. Well, shout out to at IQ for 3. He goes by Teg. Bam out of bio questionable screens in game 1. He shouted out to Ben Rittenholtz. These were the worst ones. I rarely saw him set an actual set screen. And bro, I was seeing that the whole game.
You said that.
The whole game. It's like, what's going on? And then meanwhile, RJ gets called for a bad screen. Hartenstein gets called for a bad screen. But the Heat didn't. Look at this. He's just moving right there. Look at this one. Jumps out. He even shoves Hart. That one too. You got to be set for it to be a legal screen. That was crazy. So that's something that the refs are going to have to take care of. Driving me nuts. But what's the counter move to something like that? Even if the refs are allowing it, like that one right there, they called that on Grimes. Meanwhile, Bam was the one moving into Grimes' space. Grimes is trying to get around him.
I don't know what the counter is. The only thing we can do is control our emotions. So the last thing we need is one of our key rotation guys to start getting into it with the refs, get a technical, give them a free throw, or even worse, an ejection for one of our players. So, Randall is probably the leader on the team in terms of getting too emotional with the referees. The rest of the guys, tend to stay pretty calm. But even Brunson got teed up last game. I just want them to not get into it with the refs and do what they can and control what they can. I just saw Brunson's available.
Yep, I just saw it too. We are going to get that tweet up. Steve Popper just tweeted it out that Brunson and Julius Randle are available tonight.
Knicks by 20.
Yes.
Let's go!
Now, let me tell you something. We got to win now. I mean, we had to win no matter what. But at least we won't be able to whine and complain. Oh, well, we lost without these guys. No, they're playing. So awesome. That is great news. I'm telling you, I smell a 20-point blowout.
Let's go.
A 20-point blowout. I smell
Let's go.
Woo! And we don't even need Randall to play. Like I see someone here, 19 comment. Both don't need to play over 30 minutes. No.
Especially Randall.
Yeah, especially Randall. I don't know what the state of Brunson's injury was, but we saw what happened to Randall. No, we don't need that at all. This is great news. So everything is lining up. Everything is lining up right now for the Knicks. God, how unusual that is.
I know, man.
That's wild. That things are lining up for us.
George, if there was ever a time for Brunson to go off ball, it's tonight, man. Just relax. Let IQ run the show. Just chill. Take a couple wide open threes because Miami's going to give it to you, and let IQ get some confidence back.
Beautifully said. Could not agree with that more, because truly we're going to need everybody in the rotation to deliver at some point or another. Everybody has to deliver for us to advance. This is it. This is not regular season. We're playing against teams that want it. So then we gotta execute at the highest level we possibly can within our realm. I'm not saying someone goes crazy. Like Villanova against Georgetown, and they shoot 80% in the game or something. I'm not talking about that. We just do our regular stuff. We win this game, and then we take it down to Miami. That is great news. Man, that's awesome. Lex the Destroyer has an interesting comment here. Did it pop up here? Lex says, I would start Obi and IQ. Let JB and Randall come off the bench. Interesting. I agree with half of it. I would start Obi over Randall.
I would too.
Just let Miami figure it out once he comes in. And then there's less pressure on Randall.
True.
But if Brunson's, at whatever he can go, he's Here's one thing. I know we talked about IQ needing to get his confidence back, but in some ways, I think so does Brunson. Brunson played a very poor game from a point guard standpoint. I'm not talking about how many points he scored, just the way that he just was not able to manage the game plan well. He wasn't finding guys when he needed them to. Also, like for one thing, like RJ was smoking hot at one point. Was he? He shot like he was like at 8 of 9, something. 8 of 9.
9.
Yeah, and then we started going away from him. And then by the time we went back to him, the score was down. We were trying to get back into it, and we just weren't making shots, so the paint was congested. So it was a different type of game at that point. But for example, Brunson should be trying to get Grimes some good looks. Get that guy. He's how do you win? How do you beat a zone? By shooting over the top of it. All right, who are the two guys that we have that can shoot over the top of it? Obi and Grimes. And then IQ when IQ's in there. So get them the ball, get them nice catch and shoot looks.
I know he can do that too, because he did against Utah Jazz in the first round last year when he specifically made sure that Matthew Kleber and Davis Bertans and Dorian Finney-Smith were getting wide open threes when his dribble penetration was too hot for Utah to contain. He did that, so I know he can do it with Dallas. I mean, come on, do it with New York too, man. Do these young guys because they've been struggling so far in the playoffs.
He'll make the adjustment. I mean, I believe in him from that standpoint, but he needs to be a better floor general today, like as good as he's been. Just be what you were. That's all. We're not saying go beyond your abilities. Just be what you have been, and that would be good. That would be enough. But I think he was just forcing it too many times. He took it upon he put it on his shoulders. I needed to get us that bucket, and it wasn't happening because we just. What do we have? Like 18. Not even. How many assists did we have? Not even 18 assists. What did we have in that game? Like 13 or something like that. Something crazy. But in terms of assists, for example, in the playoffs, this is nasty, man. Get ready for this. All right. What's one of your keys for the Knicks winning?
Don't let Kyle Lowry turn back the clock, for sure. I don't think he can. But let's just make sure that he doesn't. Respect.
I'll tell you though, man, I'm mad respect for that one bucket in the right baseline he made late in that fourth quarter after Jimmy had sprained his ankle and he came down and he was guarded well. I don't know if it was IQ or heart on him, and he just turned, just shot it. It was like almost like a circus shot. Should never have gone in right through the net.
Yeah, he's had a luxury being able to be off ball most of the time for Miami with Dave Vincent handling the rock, so he's not having to exert too much pressure and energy, driving the offense. Also, respect Dave Vincent as the Heat's now second best player after Bam Adebayo. He's really clutch, a great 3-point shooter, and we need to respect him and keep an eye on him on the perimeter. He's the one guy you don't leave open. I think even higher than Kevin Love. Don't leave Dave Vincent open. And 3, contain Bam Adebayo's playmaking in the mid range. That's where the Heat are the most dangerous, is when he's on ball and he's making decisions on finding shooters in the corners or making an attack face-up move to the basket. That's when the offense is really hard to stop, especially downhill in transition.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Look at this.
Embiid MVP.
Embiid MVP. Congrats to Joel. Congrats to Joel. Congrats. But we will see that when the Joker ends up taking the Nuggets to the finals and they win it all, we'll be like, oh, that's why he won those 2 MVPs before. Shit. All right, look, number 1 assist team in the playoffs, Boston. Number 2, Warriors. Number 3, the Bucks who are gone. Number 4, Miami Heat with 20. They're averaging 25.3 assists per game. We are last. We are last. I don't know if you can see it down there. Yeah, 45 right here. 18.5 assists per game. That is atrocious. We need more ball movement. We need it to be less. Okay, we just feed off of whatever Brunson can do and whatever RJ can do. That's really been our offense in that game 1.
Yeah,
we need more ball movement.
It's funny that us and Philly being down there at the bottom, if memory serves correct, Philadelphia, the Knicks, and Dallas Mavericks were the 3 highest teams in terms of isolation plays. Both plays points per possession and plays isolation plays in a game per game. So it made sense that us in Philadelphia are down there because no one does more in terms of ISO sets than us do.
Damn. Well, there it is. There's a proof right there, man. There's the proof. And our turnovers, we are committing more turnovers now in the playoffs than we did during the regular season. The regular season, we were, I think, the third lowest, around 13.3. We averaged around there. May have gone up a little bit towards the end of the season. Now we are averaging 14.8 turnovers per game, like tied for 14th with the Lakers. That's terrible. That's counter to our entire game plan. So the keys, obviously, to the game, it's always the same for the Knicks. Win the boards battle, but very importantly, dominate the offensive glass battle. And number 2, don't turn the ball over. Protect the ball. Protect the ball like it's your baby, and be good to the baby, and the baby will grow up to give you a win. Come on, got to protect the baby.
With Jimmy out, man, the Heat are really going to try to push the pace. They're going to try to run and gun and get easy baskets in transition, pull up threes. We really got to keep the game, control the pace, and keep it slowed down half court because that runs to our advantage, especially with Brunson and Randall hobbled. Half court sets don't allow them time to get into their sweet spots and get some easy shots.
Hundy, agree. Let me just show you guys something else here that I find pretty interesting. Let's see here. So, I'm not surprised about Joel winning. I don't think anybody is.
He was my pick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was your pick?
Yeah.
So look at this here. So this is the 3-point shooting since the All-Star break right here for the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler is their best 3-point shooter, but he's only averaging 1.4 attempts per game. Lowry has actually been very good since the All-Star game, 42.5%. Tyler Hero, well, he's gone now, but so it's almost a relevant discussion. But Strus, even though Strus had a down year, he picked it up towards the end of the season, almost 40% for him. Victor, he's gone. But look at Gabe Vincent, under 35%. Caleb Martin, under 34%. Duncan Robinson, under 33%. Kevin Love, under 30%. These guys are not good 3-point shooters right now. Yes, they got hot in the postseason, but they can easily go cold again soon. The idea that all 4 of these guys are going to continue hot is kind of hard for me to buy. It's kind of hard for me to buy that. And then look at the Knicks. So the Knicks 3-point shooting. Josh Hart is he's basically the Jimmy Butler in this situation. He's only averaging 1.7 3-point attempts per game, but he's averaging 47.4%. Quentin Grimes, 7 attempts per game from the 3, averaging 45% since the All-Star game. We didn't have that in game 1. We didn't have that. Brunson, averaging almost 44%. Guy didn't make 1 3-pointer in game 1. Emmanuel Quickley averaged since the All-Star break 40.1% from the 3-point line. And I mean, but the inverse was Obi shot 33% and he delivered above that in game 1. So excellent. So over time, the thing is buying yourself enough time. So tonight is a big game because tonight, hopefully, the Knicks will take care of business, and I have a high confidence that they will. And then that will lead to a game, a 1-1 tie, and most likely we're going to be staring at least a 6 or 7 game series. And over that long stretch, I do believe the averages tend to drift towards the norm of what they normally do. Now, there's always the guy that just has an entire series where he's blazing hot, and that always happens. So, which is why guys like Deuce are important, as far as I'm concerned, to get in there and disrupt those guys, disrupt their rhythm. Looks like we lost. We lost our guy Leo there.
My bad. I was messing with the oven. I forgot how to preheat something.
All right, making some cookies. Making some cookies.
No, doing some fish tacos tonight with my dad. He's coming.
Oh, nice. Oh, your dad's coming to your place. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. All right. Well, it's over. It's 7:11 in the East Coast right now. The game will begin in about 20 minutes. We've been on the air for about 50 minutes ourselves. We're going to wind it down soon, so everyone get ready for the game. Shout out to the chat. We still got over 130 in the chat. It's awesome. Thank you guys for your support. We got Adrian Reality's in the house, man. Let's see what Adrian says. With Jimmy out, we have an opportunity to get everyone involved in the game. We should win this game by 10 plus. Absolutely. Let's go. Let's go. Man, we gotta win tonight. I want. Let's talk a little bit about RJ. RJ now. I mean, I honestly, I mean, and I rewatched the game. I saw some of the the difficult things he tried to do, and there was like one drive where he just threw the ball up. But in general, he was getting fouled throughout the game, and they weren't calling it, and it was frustrating him. But I think he played a very good game overall. What's your feeling about our guy?
He was outstanding. I think there's something about him where he really elevates his game in big moments, and he's playing. The fact that he's playing better in the playoffs than he was in the regular season reminds me of Melo. Man, Melo always raised his game in the playoffs. Say what you want about him, he was a flawed player, but I love the fact that he always stepped up in every aspect of his game when it was postseason time. And RJ kind of has that same mentality for a 22-year-old. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. It's made me a little more open to him being the featured at the 3 spot or maybe even the 2 spot, depending on how the lineup shifts this summer. But he's at that dog mentality. I've liked what I've seen. He's found that thing that he's really elite at, which most players do in their 4th or 5th season. It's getting to the hole and drawing fouls. He's phenomenal at drawing fouls around the rim. If he just start making them, getting more and ones, that would be awesome. But I love the fact that he's only 22 and he's one of the best in the league in his age bracket at getting to the line. He's also got to work on his free throw shooting. But man, he is a bull in a china shop when he's downhill getting to the rack. So keep that up. It's added a new dimension and wrinkle to our offense. And now we just need the rest of the team to hit threes to make it even more efficient.
I've been incredibly impressed with his playmaking. Actually, he's made a concerted effort to find the guys out who are open out to spray the ball. I thought he's done a great job at that in the playoffs.
I think this might be controversial. I think him and IQ are our 2 best playmakers on the team. I would probably put Brunson maybe 3rd or 4th. I think IQ is our best playmaker, and I think RJ is number 2.
Yeah, I can see what you mean by that. I mean, I think Brunson could be a really, really great playmaker. Except that he just, he knows he can beat most guys. He could take on 2 or 3 defenders. And it's been effective from that standpoint. But yeah, I've been impressed by the way RJ has executed the game plan. I mean, he's averaging 18.8 points in the playoffs. He's the number 2 scorer behind Jalen. His 3-point shot has been terrible, but so is Jalen's. RJ shooting 24.1%, Jalen's shooting 23%. And the field goal percentage is right there, 45.5% for RJ. 3.5 assists. The turnovers are a little bit higher than I'd like them to be. But I have been impressed by this 22-year-old's ability to come up big in big games in the playoffs when we needed it most, when our number 1 guy, Julius Randle, went down. I think he has stepped up beautifully in that respect, and he deserves his flowers for that. But the job is not done. The job is not done. I want to be wowed today. I want to be blown away today. I want one of our guys to just step up and just basically make it impossible for the Heat to win this game. I don't care who it is. I'd love for it to be RJ or IQ, because I know what Brunson can do. But I would like it for it to be one of our younger guys in the core.
I think it has to be IQ. I think he's the way that Tibbs has this offense running. IQ really is that 3rd initiator after Brunson and Randall. And for him to get that 2nd unit running, I think it puts a different. We step on the gas, from 4th to 5th gear really quickly. No one changes the pace and the energy of a game more than Emmanuel quickly on this Knicks team. And if we can start getting easy buckets and pull up threes from IQ, it makes every other player's game that much easier to get into a rhythm and find open shots because of the way that he draws the defense toward him. I would love for IQ to have a breakout game and allow Brunson and Randall to play and get some rhythm and get back into the flow of things, but be able to rest and let someone else take the wheel and show, look, we got RJ, we got Brunson and Randall coming back, and we got IQ. It makes us really dangerous, looking forward to the potential threat of Philadelphia or Boston.
Beautifully said. L. Marshall, this is interesting because I totally, and this is something it would have been nice to talk about earlier, but we can talk about it now. What I saw from Brunson was he looked a little too amped up. He looked amped up to me. Because he obviously doesn't suffer from lack of focus. I think those turnovers we saw in that first quarter, like he got the ball taken from him by Jimmy, I think it's second play in the game. Another time he dribbled into traffic, the ball just sputtered out. Made some bad passes. I think he was just a little too amped. He needed to calm down a little bit. So this is right in tune with that. Brunson needs to calm down a bit.
He's really enjoying being the lead guy. I think he wanted that for a long time, probably since his second year in Dallas, and he's really happy that he's the lead guy now. So you could even make an argument he's the best player on the team. And I think that's getting to him a little bit. And it's one of the reasons why he hasn't been able to strike that balance between playmaking and getting his own shot yet. Is because he's so amped up on the ball being in his hands and decisions being in his mind.
Yeah. It's funny. I was in terms of the idea of like how one series kind of leads into another and another. Now we had this very intense series with the Cavs, but in the end, it was a gentleman's sweep. But I remember the intensity of it, the question marks, and how things were going to play out. And then we took care of business there, and now we're kind of almost in the same exact situation right now. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. And I saw on with NBA Today, I can't remember what it was, or First Take or whatever, and they had Kendrick Perkins on there, and he was talking about the 2008 Celtics and how they got to the finals and they ended up winning it. They had a 7-game series in the first round, a 7-game series in the second round, and I think a 6-game series in the conference finals, and then it went to 7 games in the finals. They never dominated anybody except I think that Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not even sure. That may have also been 7 games. Just wild how playoffs can swing like that.
And that team was stacked.
Stacked.
Like, you had Doc coaching the best basketball of his career with Sam Cassell and Tom Thibodeau on the bench. He had 3 Hall of Famers, really 4, with Rajon Rondo, who should be in the Hall of Fame when it's all said and done. That was an unbelievable team. James Posey, Kendrick Perkins. That was a solid team full of veterans that knew how to win ball games. And it's crazy to hear, but every game but one wins 7.
Isn't that wild?
Yep.
That every series.
That's what I'm saying. This is such an easy path. We've got to get focused and get our role players hitting threes because the sky's the limit once they do, with RJ playing like he is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we're going to wrap it up. I predict a resounding Knicks win. Like, at 15 points or more. That's what I'm predicting. I'm hoping that it's IQ or RJ explode in this game. I want to see that. I want to see that from them. I think it's great for the fans. It's great for them. Or if it's OB or Hart, whoever it is. We know that Brunson is going to be better this game than he was the last game, even if his mobility is compromised or whatever, but he's going to be a better floor general. I'm sure he studied that film. They had a whole film session yesterday.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what it was all about. They probably covered floor spacing, where to be where. Yeah. Also, at one point, like, nobody was doing anything in terms of screens. Like, there was that one inbound play. They got the ball to Obi out by the 3-point line. But the thing is, the only play was for Obi to take the 3. But Mitch did not set a solid screen on Strus. So he slipped past him easily. There was no screen. So he was right up. So when Obi got the ball, he was right up there. And then Obi, at that point, with just seconds left in the shot clock, he just kind of had to. He tried to beat him off the dribble, and he didn't have any momentum, and it was a terrible possession. But also, there was no one else for him to give the ball to.
That's true.
So those are the little things that we don't see necessarily right when the game is happening. But later on, you realize, wow, all we needed was Hart to kind of drift over, or we could have just bounced past to him and had an open three. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that's the exact thing you should have done in that position, but I'm saying I'll give you an example of little things. These are the edges because, Spo is working on all that stuff.
Oh, man. He's a genius coach, especially in-game adjustments, not just game to game.
So I'm expecting Brunson to be a better point guard this game.
Hope so.
Whether he can give us the 3-point shooting we need or whatever, we're going to see. We're going to see because he's obviously been struggling in the playoffs from the 3-point line, shooting 23% in general. And then Randall, I don't know what we're going to get from him, but it's great to see him out there. And it's good to do it in this game where he might be a little rusty, might not be quite right there, but we have extra days off from this game to Saturday, and then he'll be that much more in shape for Saturday's game. Same thing with Brunson. But the younger guys, Grimes. I want to see Grimes hit 3 or 4 3-pointers. I want to see Hart not blow a fast break. I feel like he's been blowing a fast break, at least 2 fast breaks every game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Too amped up. So all of that stuff is correctable. None of that is not within the realm of possibility.
If you got Knicks by 15, I'm going to go Knicks by 20.
Knicks by 20. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Butler, it should be an ass whooping. If it's not, man, it's time 100%. To have some tough conversations.
Yes, we're going to do it. All right. Let's hope. All right. Everybody enjoy the game. Lee, thanks so much for joining me here, man. Really appreciate and shout out to
shout out Ice Spice.
Ice Spice.
Let's get going, man. That's his favorite girl. Mine too.
Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep this PG. I'm not gonna say anything, but yeah. Oh man! Shout out to the chat. Thanks everybody for joining us here. Love the support. We still have over 118 in the chat. Adrian Reality, great seeing you. El Marshall, Francisco Carrillo, Lex the Destroyer, best mod around. Thanks for holding it down. John Talento, what's up? Let's go Knicks, absolutely. Angro One, what's up? Salute to you, brother. And Kareem Grant, let's go. The Knicks are taking it down tonight. We're going back to Miami 1-1. That's it. Go. No ifs, ands, or buts. Let's go. Let's do it. The New York Knicks, they win this game tonight. They're going to go a long way in this playoffs.
Amen, brother.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. This is Lee. Please follow us, subscribe, share, everything, and we will see you. I'll see you. We'll both see you after the game. In the post-game show, Lee will be on Nick of Time live with Jay Ellis and Ryan. And I'm not sure I'll go live or I'll do a recording. We'll see. We'll see how the vibe is. But I'll definitely be doing a recap of this game for sure. And I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.